Welcome to the second Unit 2 Inequalities. In this lesson, we'll be looking at compound inequalities. These are inequalities that are joined by the words either and or. And you'll understand what I mean by that after seeing a few examples. So here in our first example, we are looking for all real numbers that are at least -1, but at most 3. So if you think about this, we want x to be greater than or equal to -1, right? And we also want x to be less than or equal to 3. That right there, notice how I use the word and. Okay, we want numbers that are going to fit both situations. So if we graph that, again, we're going to have our filled in circle here at -1. We're going to have a filled in circle at 3, and we're going to join those. We want a number that is basically between -1 and 3, including or inclusive there. This is an and situation or a compound inequality joined by the word and. In our second one, we want numbers that are less than 31 but greater than 25. And again, x is going to be less than 31. It didn't say equal to, so we're just going to be less than 31, greater than 25. So x is going to be greater than 25. So again, this is another way to write our and situations. And in this case, we're going to have open circles at 25 and 31, and we want any number between them. So compound inequalities with and, notice how this multi-step inequality is not written with the word. Anytime they're written this way, it's understood to be joined by the word and. So we're looking for numbers that fit both situations, okay? And this one is joined by and. So in this case, just like I would if this were a two-step equation, I would subtract 5 from both sides. But in this case, I'm working with actually 3 sides of the inequality mark. So I'm subtracting 5 from everything, and I'm left with 0 is greater than -f, which is greater than -3. Okay, get where I'm going here? Now what I want to do is divide everything by a -1. And again, bells should be going off, right? And we're going to flip those around, okay? So I'm left with 0 is less than f, which is less than 3. So if you look at this situation, we're looking for numbers that are less than 3 but greater than 0. Let's just pick one. Let's just pick one and go back and plug that in to see if it's true. So we have 5 is greater than 5 minus 1. I replace the f with 1, and less than 2. And again, I've got 5, which is greater than 4. That's true. And 4 is greater than 2. That is true. Now we've got an or situation, okay? And with this compound inequality, we want all real numbers that are less than 0. So x is going to be less than 0. And it says or there, or x is going to be greater than 3. Okay? Anytime you have an or situation, you're always going to write the two inequalities separately, and they should be joined by the word or. Okay, so in order to graph this, we would place an open circle at 0. And again, where is x less than 0? It's going to be here to the left. And then an open circle at 3, and we're going to the right. So in this case, we're picking one side or the other. Our answers can come from those. Our answers are not going to be numbers like 1 or 2. And then to solve a compound inequality, you solve each of them separately. In this case, unlike the and situation where you can kind of solve them simultaneously. So we have the 3x plus 2 is less than negative 7, or negative 4x plus 5 is less than 1. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides here, and I'm left with 3x is less than negative 9. Divide both sides by 3. Do I need to flip my inequality? I do not, because I did not divide both sides by a negative number, even though I have a negative in my solution. In the second inequality here, I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I'm left with negative 4x is less than negative 4. In this case, I'm dividing both sides by a negative 4. Oops, hopefully that bell is going off in your head. I need to flip that inequality sign around, and I get x is greater than 1. So here we're looking for numbers that are greater than 1. So open circle on 1 to the right, and then numbers that are less than negative 3, open circle to the negative 3 to the left. There's our solution.